and we do a series of live streamed interviews here at the Cutting Room. Oh, the guys say we're on. So hi, my name's Laura Whitmore. I'm a member of BackStory events. We produce live stream interviews here from the Cutting Room. We've got a bunch coming up after this next week. We have Mike Stern. We're going to bring in Larry Campbell and Teresa Williams. Later on, we're going to have Jackie Green in October. We've got the Magpie Salute coming up in November. So we'll have a bunch of great programming. You can find tickets at the Cutting Room's website, Cutting Room NYC, I believe. Anyway, we're here today to interview the fantastic Nancy Wilson and Liv Warfield from Roadcase Royale. They have a new project we're going to talk about and some other fun stuff. And following our interview, the folks that are here in the studio audience will get to do a quick meet and greet. So be prepared to take a quick photo with your phone. Are we ready to go? I think we are. Here they come. All right, Nancy Wilson and Liv Warfield. Wherever you like. Sit in the middle. Hello. Hi, guys. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you.
So first things first, I want to talk about first things first. And your new album with your new band, Roadcase Royale. So can you share a little bit about the project and how it came to be?
Yes, we've been talking about this today, all day. And it's actually getting better all day long. But at the Hollywood Bowl with Heart, we were looking for an opening act. And when I saw Liv Warfield on the Jimmy Fallon show, I was just floored with her ability to mesmerize and, powerhouse voice and just a righteous presence that I'd never ever seen anything quite like. And so we asked them to open for us. Yes. And they said, yeah.
Running.
We'll be right there. And then for the 2 nights we played there together, Liv kind of was like,
I need to meet her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let her leave this building. I had to talk to either Ann or you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I have to just, because I actually was kind of working on some rock and roll stuff. Like I was kind of dabbling into it a little bit. And then after that, I was like, can I send you some of my stuff so you can listen to it? And then, we kept talking. She's like, well, let's not just talk, let's keep in touch with each other. So we definitely kept in touch. Yeah.
And then when you guys got together to create music together, let's talk a bit about the musical chemistry between you guys. Like, how did you know that it was going to click?
Well, we didn't really know for sure, not having known each other that long yet, that it would click. But we were excited about knowing each other and being friends, new friends. Yes. And her guitar player, Ryan Waters, too, who'd been with her for all these many years already, was somebody she would bring in. So because I had 3 cool players from Heart, and her guitar player, lead player from Prince's New Power Generation, it became a thing where we were like, okay, let's get together in New York after a Heart show and just talk. Yeah. So they came in. We had drinks with the guys from Cheap Trick.
Right.
And
just throwing that in for good measure.
Because they were, we were talking about starting a band.
Yeah.
Because at that time, Anne was kind of drifting off into another style, all her own. And so for me, it was like really a fascinating concept. Because when I was young, I started with Heart, and so we talked, and then Robin Zander was like, "You gotta do this! Come on! Don't just talk about it. Make sure you do it."
Yeah.
And we showed Robin and Rick the video of the Fallon show where she sang "Why Do You Lie" with her horn section, the Blackbird, and they were like, "Oh, baby, let's do this! You got to do it." So those guys were kind of they blessed it, and then we made sure we did it for sure.
We made sure we did it. Yeah.
We got together in L.A. and I had a Colin Hay song I wanted to reinterpret. Figured that would be the first best piece of homework, just try to work out this already written song and put our spin, our style on it. So, and that was Hold On to My Hand, which is one of the high points on the record, I think.
It's one of my faves too.
That's kind of your favorite.
So it was like you took steps, little steps, feeling it out.
Yeah.
Now it's really big steps. We're
Yeah.
like when we leave here, we're going over to Secaucus, getting on a tour bus with like 10 people and 12 bunks and living the life,
Well, I was going to ask you about that because you've toured with your sister for forever, and now you have a new touring family. So how does that feel?
Well, day one.
Really well. Right. Oh,
one.
exactly, right?
We'll ask you that again in 6 months, but you might have a different answer.
Right. That's true.
No, I mean, all of us in this new band, we all we just click with each other, like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
And everybody's a good writer, a good player, good singer, a lot of good singing in the band too. And I get to sing more, which is fun for me. And so I have every reason to hope and believe that we're not going to be tearing our hair out anytime too soon. Anyway,
Right.
That's good. You're ready though. You're a veteran. You know the pitfalls to
trooper.
avoid.
Yes, come from a military background.
So you did take members of both your bands and kind of bring them together for this as well. So how was that combining like your different styles and working that out?
Well, I guess for me, because I come from the R&B background, I've worked with Prince and stuff like that, so it's a lot of flavors, What's so cool about this is that the guitar player, my brother, he also worked with Sade too, so all the styles are kind of like a nice little gumbo and a melting pot. And because we do work really well together, because everybody writes, everybody arranges, like it is an inspired democracy. Like we actually put a lot of time and work, and it comes really fast with us, and I'm so happy about that. So it's easy with us,
A lot of music people are kind of, you might say, emotionally stunted.
I don't know
as
what
people,
you mean.
Yes.
And that's really common in that field. And a lot of guys are just kind of babies. A lot of people don't grow up because you're paid to sort of not grow up in that business. And so, but with this particular group of people, we're all going to support each other, and there's no egos kind of in the way, at least, knocking on wood. But
You're starting off in a good place.
really good place to start. First things first,
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's a few Heart songs on the new album, and I just wanted to maybe ask you about, how did you approach recording and performing them to just like put a new feel toward them?
Well, first of all, I kind of had to talk Liv into singing any Heart songs at all. But I think for Heart fans, it's kind of a really good, important transitional aspect for some of the familiar and beloved songs to be reinterpreted, along with the new stuff we're writing and presenting too. And I get to sing Even It Up, for instance, where I never really sang it before. And when we do Crazy on You live, it's just a whole different animal than the way Heart did it, which to me is wonderful, because then there's no tendency to compare one to the other, which is great.
And when watching her in the studio, when we did Even It Up, seriously, I was like, what? I was scared of my life because no, I'm serious, because I was like, she took it like I had a chance to sing a little bit, but I was like, no, Nancy, you're singing this. And she took it, and I was just like, oh my God, like it's got this animalistic, like and to perform it live and hear you sing it live, it's really, really amazing. Like I have a lot of fun, and especially performing these dreams with you too.
Yeah.
You know, for me growing up with that, and again, staring at her in the studio, staring her down, I just had to really kind of pinch myself. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm actually singing these dreams with you. So this is really cool. Really, really cool.
It's cool to reinterpret those songs now too, because they can get old after time, you know, if you're doing them kind of the same way for a long time. And so when I said, well, why don't you help me sing these dreams, I'll take the quiet verses, and then she kind of chimes in on the big chorus and the big bridge parts. And so it made a whole new territory out of it, which I love.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to hear like a classic song like that take on like a fresh life to it, you know? Yeah.
A good song kind of lives however you interpret it.
And I actually really love the versions that you did on the album too. If you guys will get to hear the album September 22nd. It comes out, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Yes. Not yet. So I wanted to ask you, Liv, because I'm a vocalist, and I've been in cover bands where I've sung heart songs, probably nowhere near as good as Nancy, but they're hard to sing. They're hard to sing. Oh my gosh.
Yes, they are.
I don't know. This is a long time ago.
Like, there's a lot of heart songs I could never sing because they're up in a stratosphere that is not in my range. So, you know, you can go there. I've got a ceiling on my voice.
Yeah. They'll start off okay, and then no. So did you ever sing heart songs before you?
I did. I love the big ballads. Like I was always like, you know, alone and these dreams, and like I love the big ballads. So, you know, and to be able to sing some of the songs with them and rehearsing some of them, I was just like, okay, take a deep breath. How can I interpret this in my way? You know, because clearly, you know, it's epic vocal, you know, so I'm just kind of like, how can I just at least have my take on what I feel it is?
So I also wanted to talk to you about one of the songs on the album, which I think is the first single, Get Loud. And I love the messaging in it, and I wanted maybe you could share a little bit about the story behind that song.
Our longtime collaborator, Sue Ennis, actually, who wrote lots with us for Heart, had these words, and she's always writing. She actually teaches a songwriting class in Seattle, and so she keeps her hand in as a writer, and she's always kind of parading ideas in front of me, like, what do you think, what do you think? And I'm like, I love those words. And at that moment, there were some women's rallies that are being put together, and a lot of women were starting to march. So we kind of threw this cool jam that our keyboard player Chris had, and she and I took the words, and you made these melodies, and we fixed the words a little more, and it became Get Loud. So it was a real, you know, band collaboration, and we just shot it out there just in time for the rallies. So that was actually the timing of that. Now it seems really a long time ago because the album's finally coming out. But
Was that out was that around the Women's March?
yeah,
time?
on Washington.
It was like January, yeah.
Yeah, or February or something,
Yeah, something.
or January. But
End of
yeah,
January.
it was a while back.
So what about the rest of the songs that you guys wrote for the album? Was that sort of a collaborative effort, or how did it work? Tell us some stories from the writing room for the album.
The writing, well, it's a collaborative effort for all of us. You know, the band is like, we really support each other in writing, especially Dan. playing a big part in helping to really produce and put his hands on this project. And Nancy's lyrics, like we all kind of have a collective effort in writing this. So our DNA is very much in it. I think, and cover each other. I think finally you really hear, you know what I mean? Like the sound coming together. And that came together quite quickly. Well, we had like 2 days.
Right.
It's like
I
2
know.
days to finish
Well, I
it.
had these words like laying around in my phone for a long time.
Yeah.
And then I shared them with you,
Yeah.
and there was another groove that Chris also had written
Yeah.
that was, you know, that needed lyrics and melodies. And once again, Liv took it home and created these amazing melodies that fit to the words and fixed the words and stuff too. So, and I think Dan had a bridge part, and it's like that with this band. I mean, in Seattle, both Ben and Ryan get together and they jam on stuff together. We send each other emails of song ideas or lyric ideas, and so we have like a lineup now of new songs we want to get to.
Yeah, we do.
If we weren't just so busy with this darn tour, you know, right? And all this press. Good
Oh,
problems.
Yes, and we're getting in the way of your creative process. Have you guys been playing them live yet, or that's what you're going
Well,
to get started?
We
doing?
did. We last night actually.
Nice.
We had a solo show at the Gramercy.
cool.
Yeah.
The Gramercy Theater. And
How was it?
you
and
guys were there?
Whoa.
Oh wow! Cool.
Nice.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Why don't you share a little bit about the performance and maybe what some of your favorite songs to perform live are from the album?
Well, you know, we have wedges when we're playing just us alone for a longer set, and then with opening for Bob Seger's set, which is only 45 minutes, we'll have in-ear monitors. So we're really adapting as we go. We're doing everything on the fly, and sort of like, what about that set list? Oh wait, what set list did you mean? Oh no, let's go on. You know, that was the last thing that happened before we walked on stage. Remember?
This is what all
what
bands
set
do at the
list?
beginning.
And so, what song order? Well, let's just do this one, I guess. And it was actually very, very cool.
It was.
You know, natural and instinctive. We play really loud. We're a loud rock band, so there's some times when it's hard to hear the vocals because the guitars are just screaming at you. But it doesn't really matter. It's it's in the words of James Brown, it's not what you say, it's the way how you say it. And so, you know, it's all about the intention and what comes over. And so we're just happy to be doing it and getting out here and, you know, being lucky enough to still be able to do it, for one thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, Liv, I wanted to talk to you about, your role with New Power Generation and what it was like to work with Prince. Can you share some of that?
Life-changing. Like, there's so many stories. Like,
Found her on a YouTube.
he did find me on YouTube. And I actually, he was looking for another background singer, and so a young lady had reached out to me, and I told them, don't send a video because there's no way I'm going to ever hear from Prince, like, please. And yeah, exactly. And then 3 months later, I get a call for me to come to Paisley, and it changed my life because I wasn't really used to working with other singers and just even being in that kind of platform, you know. But he did give me a chance. Like, Prince really worked with me, and the thing about him is he was extremely, extremely generous with his light, and he always took the time to be patient and work with us. And he schooled me on so much music, so many styles, and how to perform. And you know, I try to take that with me wherever I go. You know, he's dearly missed, but his energy is always around, always. So.
And he produced your album too, right? Is that correct?
He executive
Yeah.
produced.
Oh,
I like the, yeah,
executive
I
produced,
love, well, I'm happy to say that because he gave me the free reign to kind of do what I wanted. You know, he trusted me. And so he would call, well, I would call him and I would let him listen. He'd be like, oh no, You're not putting that out, Liv. I don't think so. But he gave me a lot of free reign to kind of do what I wanted, and I really appreciate him for that because he trusted my creative instincts, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So he had a long history of working with female musicians, and I was wondering if he was a fan of Heart, if he ever talked
He
about
sure
Heart.
was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when he found out I was working with Heart, when I had a chance to open up for you guys at Hollywood Bowl, he was so excited. Like, yeah, he was so excited. He didn't talk a lot and say a lot, but I knew, like, he was like, yeah, Liv, you know. So he would be so excited about this right now, too. Yeah.
We always heard that he might be showing up at certain Heart concerts.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
in the past.
Good
And
for
then
that.
it'd be like,
Right.
and you know, he would create this big enigma around
Yes,
himself.
yes.
And of course, he never did show up.
You never know,
You
though.
thought he might be coming, and you weren't sure if he was there. So
Okay, so were you guys a fan of Prince too then? Were you, yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of his different journeys, musical journeys, were like really so different. You know, he was really brave about stylistically changing himself, like a lot of really amazingly great artists do, like Bob Dylan and Neil Young, you know, people that aren't afraid to change and up in it and even challenge their fan base with change, you know, but not very many people can get away with that.
Right. So, Nancy, I wanted to ask you, since we're on Guitar World Live right now, I want to talk a little bit about guitar. And, you know, I wanted to talk to you, you know, you've put together some of the most distinctive guitar parts in rock. I mean, you're really iconic. And I wanted to see if you might... Yeah, right. One of the first women to do it, and one of the top women in the field, I think. So I was wondering if you could share any stories behind the guitar side of things.
The guitar side of my world is, it's an interesting thing, having started when I was like about 9 years old, playing guitar, and learning how to play sort of aggressively because Anne was sort of the family singer and I was the family accompanist. So I'd learn how to play sort of an all-encompassing part that sounded more like a band than just one instrument. So I'd kind of add bass parts or, you know, add little bits and stops and starts and rhythms and keep all the parts kind of moving around and interesting. So I had like a more aggressive approach as even an acoustic guitar player. And like sitting in a music store, for instance, I'd go there to play the better guitars than the one I had at home. And guys would go, whoa, you're pretty good for a girl, you know, like, whoa, what's that, you know, how old are you, kid, you know, and that was my instant best friend in my life was guitar. I had two good, cool sisters, obviously, too, but that was my thing, that was my corner and my obsession for, you know, still is. And people would give me guitars because they would see me play, and like my first electric was just given to me by some guy that knew how to build one. So you take this, just take it and play this. And I was like, okay. And so guitars, it looms large in my legend forever, and I'm so happy to be associated with guitar playing because it's music overall, you know, making music, it's a bigger energy than almost anything. And I always, you know, like to add this when I talk about this, but when a human body is shutting down and you're going off to heaven or wherever you're going to go, the last faculty that you lose is your hearing, and the last brain cells still have music left. So you can still recognize music before you can recognize your family, you know, at the end. So I just thought that was a sweet tribute to music itself because it's so much bigger. It's a cellular experience. It's not just goes in here and goes out there, you know. But it's a whole cellular, deep level experience.
It's probably at the beginning too, one of the first.
Yes, at the beginning,
senses,
even in the
yeah.
womb, you can hear music. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting.
It's really deep, I
heavy.
know, it's so deep.
I was wondering. I didn't write this question down, but as a woman playing guitar, and probably before a lot of women were seen playing guitar, did you have a lot of challenges stepping up with that instrument and being well received, or
Well,
did you just know?
I was always surprised when somebody was was surprised at me for being good, feeling, I felt accomplished at a really young age. And when people were surprised by that, that surprised me because, I mean, young kids are, they're just sponges for doing great things. And, I was probably better then in many ways than, I've kind of grown into those patterns that you grow into. But it was all wide open as a young player. And when guys would say stuff like that, I'd be like, no, because it just doesn't compute with me. It was the purpose I had, and I was a tomboy growing up, so just horseback riding with no saddles and running through the woods, just a banshee in the woods. So, so guitar came just so naturally in that sort of character. The guitar is a wild character. Yeah.
And can you share just, briefly maybe like what your go-to guitars are? Like what's some of the gear you love to play?
I love my Martin guitar, yes. I have a signature Martin that I kind of talked to the guys at Martin. What I was chasing was the type of three-piece back dreadnought, like Crosby, Stills and Nash style guitar because that sound and that era was so wooden ships, And my favorite electric is a blue Telecaster that's 1963. And so, you can't buy a new guitar with that kind of dirt in it. And you hear the dirt. So it's, that's the best thing for me is like the old SG that I have. I think it's a 65 or 6. And, some new
Do you
guitars
take
are
that
okay.
on the road?
Well, actually, it's staying home this time, yeah. The telly is out. It's a battle axe, so it can go everywhere.
Do you experiment at all with like alternate tunings or?
Oh, I have many times. Joni Mitchell's one of my huge influences. And her tuning styles and her various ways of tuning the guitar were really fascinating to me. And I've done a lot of work with that. But when you're playing live, and you have one guitar box for everybody's guitar. You don't have spare guitars laying around. You just pretty much stick to what's the easiest, most portable thing.
And why don't you, Liv, share a little bit of what are some of your influences? Your musical influences.
I have a lot, but right now, I think for the past 5 years, I've really been influenced by Mother's Finest. Let's see. Oh gosh. Muddy Waters. Oh my gosh. A lot of that. A lot of Jimi Hendrix because I did a lot of the tribute just a while ago. So I've just been really, because I should say my ears are young in that way because I kind of grew up a little different. I listened to a lot of old school R&B stuff. So, but when I had a chance, actually Prince put me on to Mother's Finest. And I was like, what? What is going on? It was just like, is soul and rock and, I was just trying to soak it up. So I really been listening to that a lot. So.
How about, are there any new artists, new music that you just really love that you might like to share with everybody?
There's so much pretty cool stuff right now. There's a lot of cool stuff.
But you can't think of it now.
It's hard to think of right now. No, it is. I mean, I really love the new stuff by what's his name? Well, John Mayer, for one thing. Say what you might about his character or what do you think about him, but he can write them and he can really sing them and he can really play them. And you know, my other favorite guy. Oh, Ryan Adams. Adams. Ryan Adams, yeah. Ryan with an R. And he's, as opposed to Brian Adams from the 80s. But, yeah. But he's got beautifully just some of that high lonesome kind of great stuff, you know, I just had to write something recently for what's my favorite album in the last 10 years. And that was Raising Sand with Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. And I still wear that thing out. That's just a fine piece of work. Amazing classic songs that they reinterpreted with T-Bone Burnett. And, you know, that album songs and stuff like that just doesn't come along too often. But there's good stuff out there if you look.
Oh, and I have to add, I'm listening really quick to Carlos Santana and the Buddy Miles live. I'm obsessing over that right now. It's in rotation, so yeah, that too.
Awesome. So coming up, you guys are going to be touring with Bob Seger.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Heart actually had an invitation to open for Bob Seger, and Ann just didn't answer, and pretty soon the clock was running out on saying yes or no, so that he would have a chance and enough time to find somebody to open. And so I kind of pressed Ann, pressed her on it, and she was like, I just really don't feel I'd want to do that. So I was like, okay, so we said, okay, that's a whole year's worth of financial security. I'll just say, bye-bye, But then we said, well, what about Roadcase Royale? And they said, no, we got to sell tickets, so sorry about that. But we'd like to listen to your stuff anyway. Just send us all your stuff. So when they looked and listened to our stuff, they were like, on second thought, let's
Well,
do
that's really
this.
great then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we skated in just under the wire.
That's awesome. Bob Seger's a fan then, I'm going to say. So I got one last question before we open it up for some audience questions, and I'm sure it's the question that a lot of people want to know is, what is the future of Heart?
Well, people want to know. I want to know myself, just to be honest. To be really super candid about it, I'm really happy with this right now because there was a lot of there's some scar tissue there, and I don't want to pour salt into anything that happened before that was painful, and both of us are coming from painful stuff and finding strength in each other now with Roadcase Royale. So this is the right time, the right thing to do. We'll be just exactly this inspired after 8 weeks on the tour bus.
Yeah, you might be more inspired, right?
Maybe
That's right.
more. That's true. No, I'm just joking. But I don't know what Heart is anymore yet. And the first thing for me to want back is just my sister. And I want, we know we love each other forever, and we're unconditionally friends and good family members. But there's a lot of stuff that's really hard to fix, and especially when it's so deeply ingrained in the family. So, and the kids are involved and stuff like that. So, we're working it out gradually. She was in Florida for the hurricane. She's okay. Their house is standing, but that's sort of where we started actually texting back each other again, because it's like, how are you okay? So it's like the bigger issues than just what's going to happen to the rock band. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. I think if we have a couple questions from the audience, we've got Brad out there has got a microphone. We got one over here.
This question's for Nancy. Fan for 4 decades. One question, one of my all-time favorite Heart songs is Devil Delight. And I was always curious what the inspiration for that track was going back all those years.
Well, we thought we had like a groove that was written by most of the guys, mainly, and we wanted something really dangerous sounding, something, you know, kind of outlandish and rebellious, and things, you say things that people don't necessarily want to hear. So, you know, just trying to be rock people who are outside the realm of normal. And so we kind of, I might have hit it too hard a little bit on that one, but Devil Delight, you know, really.
No.
But
Honestly, I've always
it
liked...
worked on you, right?
You know what? I've always liked the darker songs. Mistral Wind,
Yeah, I love that one.
Sing Child, but that one was always a personal top-of-the-list favorite.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Do we have another question right there?
I know Led Zeppelin was a big influence on Heart, and I was at the show last night, which was awesome. So thank you for that. And it sounded like I heard maybe some Zeppelin influences on the new songs, and just wanted to get your take if that was there.
Ryan Waters, he is such a classic. He makes these classic sounding riffs, crazy good riffs that are simple enough that you almost feel like you've heard them before, which is what I love about Ryan Waters' riffing. What did I say? The riff-stafarian? Yeah. He's a good riff-stafarian in the band. But there's a very definite Zeppelin influence in some of those shapes, you know, riff shapes are very Zeppelin, which is fine with me. You know, there's only 3 chords, you know. There's only 6 or 7 notes, you know. No, I'm kidding, but but the blues scale is very familiar, and we're talking about maybe doing Misty Mountain Hop.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah. We needed to have a longer set than we already had, so you notice I might have been talking really a lot last night, telling story after story.
You're like, what can we add? Okay. Do we have another question? Sorry. Right here.
Hi, how you guys doing? First of all, I just want to say this combination is awesome. It really is awesome. I love it. And it's supposed to hi to dance. And want to ask you something about your left hand and your calluses. After all the years, because I've noticed, you know, I know how you play and do that. How do you keep from getting fatigued from playing? Just specifically with the acoustic stuff, because I know how you
Yeah.
attack it like for years and years and years. How do you-
Specifically acoustic for sure. Well, my hands have kind of mutated into the job. They're not pretty. You know, I'm not a hand model. That's one thing, but they're strong, and you know, I have to kind of keep my fingers together and keep them warm mainly, because there's some what you call arthritis going on, just from all the work, you know. When you're 9 years old, you start playing like that, it's gonna come back at you. But one other great thing about Ryan Waters too is that the way he plays, it gives me breaks during a set, so I can lay out, he can fill in, and we have this language that works. And I'm always a firm believer of less is more. You don't want to fill up the space. You want to leave parts out to make a better sentence, you know? Yeah.
What is your sort of warm-up ritual? before a show? You share a little?
Get dressed. No, I don't. No, I save it up. Yeah, it's there. You just can't be cold. I mean, just physically cold. So I wear gloves and go like this a lot.
I think we could take maybe one more if we have one more question. I can't see out there. I think we got one more.
Hi, this is for both of you. Nancy, is there a Prince song maybe that you would like to give the Roadcase Royale treatment? And Liv, same thing, is there a Heart song that maybe you would like to give the Roadcase Royale treatment? That not that you've worked on yet at this point, something further down. And will you be doing more dates? Because I'd love you to come to Cleveland.
Well, there's some Prince songs, and it would be just typical of me to name the most popular Prince songs. Like doing something like When Doves Cry, or 1999, or Red Corvette, or we did Controversy last time we played before, which was really fun too. But I see the purpose of, like, if we're doing Prince and we're doing Heart and then we're doing, it's probably cleaner not to throw too much Prince in there either.
Yeah. I think I'm already doing one of my favorite songs that I'm actually I'm performing. Like, I'm able to sing crazy. Like, you gotta understand, like, I do not want to touch any of those songs because they're so, like, the DNA on that Heart stuff is just, it's so powerful. But I also love their ballads too, so I would love to sing any of the ballads. But I love crazy. I do love performing that one, I have to say. Just guilty pleasure, I do like
Well, one of the
performing
first things she said to me was like, whatever you do, do not ask me to sing Barracuda.
I did.
You did. I did, yeah. It's like, oh God, what about Straight On?
Terrifying.
Would you consider What About Love?
Right.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. So, first things first, coming out September 22nd, it's Roadcase Royale. You guys will be going on tour starting tomorrow. So, I'm sure they'll be coming to a lot of dates out there near you guys who are watching online. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you.
For those of you here in the studio audience, we'll be bringing them up to the front. So, if you want to line up, we'll do a